Okay, so introduction. The intention of my project is to explore how clothing affects a person during and after a cold water immersion, with a particular reference to sailing. The ultimate aim of my presentation is to be informed and to inform about the best choices of clothing for the water sport, which is sailing. The dangers, so the reason why I'm doing this. Dangers when immersed in cold water are more common after experiencing a capsized situation, and the way bodies respond can vary. So to start with, we have the cold shock response, which covers all conditions which occur immediately after being immersed, so within the first couple of seconds of falling in the water. Some examples of these are hyperventilation, which is rapid breathing, and hypertension, which is high blood pressure, which means blood going from your fingers, your toes, into your main core of your body to keep that warmed up. Further developments where a person has been unable to get out of the water can include hypothermia, which is where the core body temperature drops below average. This can become extremely dangerous without help, so without getting out of the water. Also, after capsize, there are more effects within sailing, so it's not like you can go straight into the shower and dry off. Okay, so my method, so what I'm going to do. I intend to use between 2 and 4 healthy 19 to 22 year old males who will immerse only their bodies in seawater for 4 minutes. Now the reasons why I've chose 2 to 4 healthy 19 to 22 year old males is it's very accessible to me, being that age myself. I've got friends the same age. They must do this 3 times with the independent variable being the clothing they wear changing. So they will also be monitored for 5 minutes when sat in the boat to measure the effects of the wind, so they'll still be carrying on, the results will be measured. So immersion 1, which is wetsuit buoyancy aid, immersion 2, wetsuit rash vest and buoyancy aid, and immersion 3, wetsuit spray jacket and buoyancy aid. The reason why I've kept wetsuit and buoyancy aid the same for each time is to keep the variables down. By doing this, I will be able to find out the best way of preventing the dangers. So, how I plan to record my data. Each subject will be wearing a heart monitor around the chest whilst in and out of the water. I also intend to find a way of measuring the body temperature, so some sort of thermometer, whether it be external or internal. The heart rate and body temperature will be recorded every 20 seconds. This will allow me to be able to base my ultimate discovery on accurate data, as the effects on the body will be recorded at steady and regular intervals. I'm going to link mine to industries, so I intend to contact some of the key suppliers of the equipment I will be exploring. It will be interesting to understand the tests they have already done and the results they have discovered in order to help development and production of their products. So I'm going to contact people like Musto, Henry Lloyd, Seaskin, see what tests they've done to find out how that protects the person. Also look into the Royal Yachting Association, RYA. May also be a good resource for the development of my results. I will be able to find out about the best clothing guidelines they have found to stay safe. So what they suggest when going out in the water. In summary then, my ultimate aim is to narrow down and potentially discover the best clothing equipment to wear while sailing dinghies. My tests will be as safe and as accurate as possible, and I will eventually be able to compare the results I have achieved with the test results appropriate companies have discovered. This will eventually result in a safer and more enjoyable sailing experience. That is my presentation. Any questions?
That's all right.
Yeah.
You mentioned, forgive me, I may not pick this up. You've got the guys in what sort of clothing again?
I'll go back to the slide.
Thanks.
So wetsuit and buoyancy aid, wetsuit rash vest and buoyancy aid, wetsuit spray jacket and buoyancy aid.
And obviously they'll all be the same wetsuit.
Yeah, but before the first immersion, it's going to be a wetsuit to keep the variables down, because obviously if it's dry the first time again, then it's going to change.
Just a point I was going to say.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And the reason why I've actually picked them is because it's more accessible. I couldn't afford to go out and get 4 pairs of salopettes, 4 pairs of dry suits and things like that. So that's the reason why I just stuck with wetsuit and buoyancy.
How often will they be immersed? I mean, what's the time period between each immersion?
Well, my idea was they'd get out, get warm, make sure they're back to the same temperature, then put them back in. I can't give it a time period, because if they're not the same temperature when they go back in, it's not going to be a fair.
I speak as an ex-fisherman, I've been involved in some work on this, and the issue would be if you repeat exposure to this, then there's some conditioning where they'll anticipate the cold shock, and that will affect their ability to respond to it. So that might be just something to consider. And also, what stats are going to be applying to you?
Oh,
Okay.
I haven't actually thought about that.
No worries.
What do I say though? What quality of equipment will you be using to do these tests with? Is it going to be the lower end of the market, the mid-range market, or the high-end market? Because obviously there's such a variable.
Yeah, the whole idea is to use different for each person, because obviously if I use the same wetsuit for each person, it might not fit them properly. So it's going to be their own wetsuit. So I'm going to fit properly. So I'm going to have to obviously mention about what their wetsuit is and how that's been tested. So I'm going to have to look at each individual person and each individual equipment.
Yeah, the quality of the equipment that they'll be using. But I would suggest that everybody's virtually got to be in the
Yeah, it's the same
middle
middle
round
round.
of everything.
I think, to be fair, most Switch students, it's not going to be top end, it's going to be
Yeah, mid-range.
mid-range.
That's what's successful to them. Yeah. Okay.
What kind of data are we going to have for you to analyse?
So I'm going to have obviously heart rate, so that will be measured and then put into graphs so I can see the drop or the rise of the heart. This then I can look at the different conditions on the research that I've done on the conditions, so I can compare that, and also then the temperature. I can do the same. I can look at the conditions, see what previous papers have said on it before, and then link it with that.
Okay.
Your hypotheses, young man, if you ever look at your stats, you probably haven't come around to that, but it would have been interesting. What do you think that you are going to actually discover?
I believe the heart rate will drop, and the body, the external parts of the body should get cooler, but the interior parts of the body stay averagely the same. As research I've looked into, the blood leaves the hands and feet and goes into the main part of the body to keep warm. Plus, that's where the water is, hence the buoyancy aid, the rash vest. The wetsuits are thicker in the main part of the body. So that's what I do.
So really, the more kit you've got on, the warmer you're going to stay.
Yeah. But that's what we've got to find out. Because just to say you've got a really thick wetsuit on doesn't mean when you come out in the wind effects that's going to help better than a thinner wetsuit with a spray jacket.
What are you intending to do with your findings once you carry your research?
Contact the companies that I've contacted already to show them the test that I've done, show them what I've found, help our way, because they're always looking into best ways of putting equipment on clothing, so people then can go out safer and rely more on their equipment.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Brilliant.